Eric? Are you there? We need to talk. Why did I only get $5 for this month's child support payment? What's going on? You promised to send me $200 a month. Are you in some kind of trouble? This is your duty as a father, so I'd appreciate if you'd stop screwing me around and actually pay the amount you said you would.
Sup, Joanne? I'm guessing you checked your bank balance.
Duh. Why do you think I'm messaging you? We might have been divorced for 5 years now, but that doesn't change the fact that you're Fonzie's father. And it doesn't change the fact that you have obligations to fulfill to him. If you don't start fulfilling those obligations properly, you and I are going to have issues.
No heckin' way. This ain't fair at all. It's not like I'm the one raising Fonzie, is it? Why should I give you all that money for him when I'm hardly even involved? I only see him a few times a month. It makes no sense for me to pay that much.
Excuse me? Are you for real right now?
To be honest, I thought it was bullcrap from the get-go, but I ignored my better judgment and carried on paying the full amount for years because I was scared you'd stop playing games with visitation rights. You know what? I'm not going to take it anymore. $5 a month is more than enough child support money. You're the one who divorced me. Raising the kid is your responsibility.
Oh my God, Eric, are you being serious right now? Like, are you actually being serious right now? You genuinely believe $5 child support a month is enough?
Are you dumb? This ain't a question of whether it's enough or not. This is a question of why the heck I have any obligation to pay you child support in the first place, considering you're the one who divorced me.
I divorced you because you cheated on me, you doofus. Jesus. Do you want us to drag all that old crap up again? Besides, the child support money isn't for me. The clue's in the name. It's for Fonzie. He has a right to that money. You're supposed to be paying $200 a month in child support to fulfill your obligations as Fonzie's father.
What's the point if you're the one who spends it? I don't see how it's helping Fonzie. You're just using him as a tool to get your grubby mitts on my cash.
What am I supposed to do? Give it to him? He's 7 years old, you idiot! You've been paying me the money into a bank account I made especially for this purpose for the last 5 years. I spend all of it on Fonzie with utmost consideration for his needs at all times.
I wonder. Are you really telling the truth? I'm not convinced. You hear stories all the time about struggling single mothers spending all their kids' child support on themselves. It wouldn't surprise me one heckin' bit if that turned out you were doing the same thing. Single mothers are all the same, after all. Everyone knows you're a blight on society.
Wow, because that's not prejudiced. Jesus, Eric, you're unreal. Fine, if you don't trust me, how about I show you my receipts? I've been keeping everything just in case you ever complained about this exact kind of thing. So if you want to see them, I'm ready.
I ain't got the time to look at your frickin' receipts. Do I look like a bank clerk? Look, bottom line is, the child support payments will be going down to $5 a month from here on out. That will be all.
Oh, no you don't. Wait a sec. You don't just get to decide the conversation's over when I'm not done speaking to you. We made an official agreement at the time of the divorce, so you don't have the right to reduce the payments without my consent. You sent me another $5 again this month. Eric, you seriously need to cut this crap out. If you insist on continuing with this absurd behavior, I'll have no choice but to take extreme measures.
What's that supposed to mean? You wouldn't be able to take an extreme measure if it hit you in the face.
Oh, you really think so? Well, then go ahead and try me. It means speaking to my lawyer again and having it arranged that the money be taken from you through other means, such as, I don't know, having it seized directly out of your salary.
Directly seized? Sorry, babe, but that ain't gonna happen.
What makes you so sure?
Yeah, that's a personal question. And a severe invasion of my privacy, so... I'm sorry, sugar tits, but I can't answer that.
You have a warped view on rights when you can't answer a simple question, but have no issue with denying your son the right to his child support.
Like I said, I'm not the one raising the brat, so you should be grateful you're even getting $5.
If there are circumstances making it difficult for you to pay the full amount, then you should just say so. If you have something going on in your life that can't be helped, then I'd be willing to consider a temporary reduction. But we're never going to go anywhere if you keep playing these stupid games with me.
Circumstances? Nah. It's plain sailing on my end, babe. The bottom line is the child support payments will be continuing at $5 a month forever. See ya.
Hey, wait! Hey, Joanne, it's been a while. It's Eric's sister, Anna. Huh? Anna? I hope you're doing okay. Sure, I'm alright. I hope you're doing okay, too. Things sure were chaotic back while the divorce was going on. Thanks so much for having my back then, babe. You really have no idea how much it meant to me. It's fine, really. The whole thing was all my idiot brother's fault to begin with, so of course I was gonna have your back. Anyway, about why I messaged you today. My idiot brother wouldn't happen to have done anything else idiotic lately, would he? How do you mean? For example, anything to do with the child support? Well, actually, now that you mention it... God damn it. I'm impressed. You always were pretty darn perceptive, Anna. Would you mind telling me exactly what he's doing? Alright, well, starting last month, he took it upon himself to reduce the child support payments to $5 a month. $5? It was supposed to be $200 a month, right? Right. Up until last month, we never really spoke at all, but he'd been paying me the full $200 on time every month without issue. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he boldly declares that he's reducing it to $5 a month without going through any official procedures, without going through my lawyer, and completely without my consent. Wow, I see. Did something happen on your end? How did you know something was going on? Well, I'm not sure exactly how to tell you this, but here's what happened. I'm not sure whether it was my mom or my dad, but anyway, up until recently, one of them had been dragging my lazy-ass brother to the bank every month. That way, they could confirm beyond any doubt that he was in fact paying the child support like he was supposed to. Wow, really? Yes. Damn. So they've been going out of their way to help me behind the scenes these last 5 years? I feel kind of guilty. Wait, what do you mean until recently? Well, my mom and dad were involved in a car accident the day before last month's child support payment. Oh my god, no way! Are they both okay? They're a little scratched, bruised, and shaken up, but there's no danger to their lives. They're both staying in hospital for the time being, but the doctors are pretty confident they won't suffer any ill effects from the accident. Phew, well, I'm really pleased to hear that. However, the problem is, my mom and dad being stuck in hospital beds means there's no one to supervise my idiot brother and make sure he paid the child support. I'd love to help out if I could, but I live a long way away with my husband, so it'd be difficult for me to take over in my parents' absence. I see. So Eric's sudden $5 a month declaration is actually him taking advantage of the situation with your mom and dad's car accident? I'm so sorry, Anna. I know this is probably the last thing you needed on your plate. Whoa, now take that back. You don't have a thing to apologize for, babe. I finally understand what's happening now. Thanks so much for letting me know. Don't mention it. Anyway, as for what we do next, my mom and dad said they want to speak to you about something. Huh? Me? What could it be? I can only apologize in advance for the inconvenience, but would you mind heading down to the Herbert Hoover General Hospital to see them on your next day off? I'll cover your transportation costs and your hotel if you need to stay the night. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about that. I can cover everything. Eric won't be at the hospital when I arrive, will he? No, of course not. All right. Well, in that case, I'll head down to see them on Sunday. And they can talk to me about whatever they want then. Sunday? All right. Got it. I'll let you know my time of arrival closer to the day. Great. Thanks a bunch, Joanne. Sorry again for the trouble.
Hey, Joanne. Remember how you were bitching and whining about my $5 a month child support contributions? Well, it just so happens I have some good news to announce. I'm willing to bump it back up to $200 a month. If you marry me again.
I take it that means you'll only be putting $200 into the household every month?
You're working. What's wrong with that? $200 is more than enough.
Not even close. Be honest, Eric. The only reason you're messaging me with this crap is because you got fired recently and are currently juggling several part-time jobs in an attempt to make up for the massive blow that got dealt to your income.
Huh?
Besides, you're nothing but talk. It's always the same with you. I bet you'd stop contributing even the $200 once you got comfortable.
No way. That's not true.
How can I trust anything you say? Your word means nothing ever since you broke your promise on the child support and took it upon yourself to drop it down to $5 a month. I mean, why did you get it? You're in a desperate financial situation and will stop at nothing to claw back any money you can. You used your parents' car accident as an opportunity to reduce the child support payments to the paltry sum of $5 a month. Now you have the nerve to say you'll bump it back up to $200 if I remarry you? Does your arrogance know no bounds? Was this the plan all along? To try and make me suffer by cutting the payments before giving me an in to get the money back by marrying you again so you could leech off me and do nothing around the house all day just like the good old days? I'm sure that had your plot succeeded, you would have done your utmost to force me to work more hours than ever before to fund your pathetic, worthless existence.
No way. It's not like that.
There was just one little problem with your master plan. I make far too much money for cutting the child support to make me desperate enough to marry you again.
Seriously? Huh. Wait a sec. How the hell do you know so much about my situation?
Wow, you noticed. Maybe you're not as much of a pea-brained moron as I thought you were. Anyway, you'll have to excuse me. I just arrived at the hospital to visit your parents.
What?
I'm with your sister, Anna.
What the heck is going on?
She told me all about the situation with your mom and dad, and suddenly your crazy behavior surrounding the child support suddenly makes perfect sense.
Oh my god. What the heck? You're all ganging up on me behind my back.
Stick your child support payments up your ass.
Wow. Really? You mean I don't have to pay?
Yep.
Like seriously? Like, really, really, really?
The downside is that you'll never see your son Fonzie again. But as long as that's fine with you, we can go ahead with 0 child support.
Sure. Yeah, that works for me. Okay. Let's do it. Yeehaw!
Understood. Your mom and dad will fill you in on the rest.
Woohoo! Talk about hitting the frickin' jackpot. My life is about to get so much easier. Hey, bitch. Is that what you meant by me not having to pay child support anymore? My goddamn parents agreed to give Fonzie my frickin' inheritance money in return? Give me back my money. Now.
It's not your money anymore.
But it should have been mine. It belonged to me originally. Tell Fonzie to waive his right to the inheritance.
It's too late, Eric. The procedures have already begun.
Not my problem. Undo it. Now. Tell Fonzie to relinquish his right to the inheritance now.
He's a 7-year-old child.
Age has nothing to do with this, bitch.
Why not use this as an opportunity to self-reflect instead of swearing at me like some demented old man? This obviously would never have happened if you hadn't been such a blithering moron that you thought it was actually acceptable to reduce the child support payments to $5 a month.
Yeah, my money. My money!
Anyway, don't you have bigger things to worry about right now?
What are you talking about?
Isn't the young girl at your workplace filing charges against you for stalking her?
Huh?
I got a phone call from her parents explaining how the middle-aged dad at the milkshake cafe where their daughter works has been following her home and loitering outside their house with a pair of binoculars every day. They were worried taking you to court and potentially having you thrown in jail might have negative consequences for our son, but I assured them you have nothing to do with Fonzie and that my fiancé has plans to adopt him soon.
What? Your fiancé? You've been cheating on me this whole time?
I met him after we divorced. Don't lump me in the same category of a scumbag as you.
What, did you just call me bitch?
This is the last time we'll ever speak. Because I'm going to block you very soon.
Huh?
I kept you unblocked in case we ever needed to discuss Fonzie, but it looks like there's no danger of that anymore.
Hey, wait, no.
Like I just told you, I have plans to get married soon. An irritating jerk making my phone blow up with notifications is the last thing I need on my plate when I have a wedding to plan. If you desperately need to discuss something with me, you're welcome to contact me through the lawyer we used during the divorce.
Joanne, you listen here, bitch. Who the fuck do you think you are?
All right, I think it's time to block you now. Apparently, Eric tried to launch an assault on his mom and dad's hospital ward after that. But they could read their son like a book, and they'd already requested that hospital security refuse him entry in advance. Hilariously, he walked away gritting his teeth after vainly huffing and puffing at them until the hospital director came out and threatened to call the police. Unbeknownst to him, Eric's dad had been going through the procedures to sell their house ever since he found out about the stunt he pulled with the child support. By the time he found out, the house was already sold. With that, Eric was officially homeless. However, he still had a major problem. He had to come up with the compensation he now owed the girl he'd been stalking at work. In a stroke of miraculous luck, he managed to land himself a job at a factory where the manager agreed to let him live inside a storage shed on the premises. It may seem like things were going surprisingly well for my ex-husband, given the circumstances, but that was where his luck ran out and his nightmare began. It turned out the factory he landed a job at was notorious for exploiting its employees. He's currently working like a dog to pay back all of the debt he owes. Last I heard, his power-tripping manager only lets him sleep in the shed for 4 hours per day, forcing him to work the other 20 without breaks. I know it sounds rough, but look on the bright side. At least he's too busy to bug me anymore. It really is true what they say, huh? What goes around comes around, so be nice, folks. Trinity? Could you tell me the reason why you and your husband were in my room earlier? If you guys are planning to stay the night here, would you both please go to the guest bedroom? Oh, hi, Ari. I was surprised that you actually went outside the house for once, but I guess you're home now. This place is my home, so of course I'd be coming back. Now, could you and your husband please come here and get your things out of my room? What? What's wrong with us wanting to be in there? Do you really think it's a bad thing that my husband and I want to get a taste of what this room feels like in this penthouse here? Then go to the guest bedroom. It has the same view as my room, but the only difference is that it's not already occupied. We only just put our stuff down in there, though. You really think you can just come into this house and do as you please? I'm sorry, but my bed is off limits to anyone else, as it was specifically made to my needs. I get that it's comfy, but it's not meant for you. Oh? So you found out what I was really after in that room, then? Well, if you chose my room over the guest bedroom, the only real difference is the bed, so that was pretty obvious to me. If you and your husband do anything in that bed while I'm out of the house, I am telling you right now that you'll both be charged $10,000 to get me a new one. $10,000 is what you paid for that? You really expect me to believe something like that? I hope you do, considering that's the price I had to pay. So come and get your things right now. The fact that everything always has to be about you is so annoying. Ari, you've really gone and done it this time. What did I do? You went and took some of my money out of my purse, right? Huh? I am not in that much of a need for money where I'd do something like that to my own sister. Yeah, sure. That's probably because you're always taking mom and dad's money like some thieving parasite. What did you say? What are you talking about? The other day, I was in your bedroom, right? Well, I had accidentally left my purse in there when you kicked my husband and I out. So when I went in there to grab it today, there should have been around $500 in it, but there was only $200. Huh? I don't know what happened to your money. Actually, I never even saw that your purse was left in my room these past couple of days. Did you really forget to take it out of my bedroom the other day? That's what I expected the criminal to start saying next. I already had a talk with both Mom and Dad, and they told me they never went into your room. So that would mean while my purse was forgotten about in your room, you found it and took $300 out of it before putting it back where I had forgotten it. This is so stupid. So you're not going to confess to any of it? Hey, Trinity. Could all of this be happening because you want to start living in my penthouse? We are not talking about your penthouse right now. This is about that money which was in my purse. I want you to give me back that $300 you stole from me first before we talk about anything else here. I told you I don't know what happened to your money. Jeez, Ari, this is exactly the reason for why you're 40 years old and can't get married still, right? Now, what does that have to do with anything? You know what a lot of people call women like you? They call you a middle-aged woman still living in her nursery room. Huh? You don't work any kind of a job, and you live off the money your parents make. A 40-year-old, useless shut-in. I have a job, though. You have no idea how hard it is to make money in this world, and probably still think it just grows on trees or something, and that's why you ended up stealing my money from my purse. I have told you 3 times now, I don't know anything about that purse. It's so upsetting that a woman in her 40s had to steal money from her little sister. For Christ's sake. So you have no interest in actually listening to anything I have to say, do you? I'm not going to think of some money-stealing criminal woman as my older sister anymore, so it's over between you and I. I'm cutting ties to you. From now on, my husband and I will be living in this penthouse. It kind of sucks that Mom and Dad are still going to be living here with us, but that will only last a couple more years before they both croak. And while they're still around, they'll make for 2 great housekeepers. So this is goodbye to you, Ari. Have fun on the streets now after you're kicked out of this place. I knew this is what you were wanting. I have to say, the fact that you've already lived close to half of your life and have still not gotten a taste of the real world is really disappointing. So hopefully, kicking you out of this penthouse once and for all helps you grow a little. Aren't you embarrassed to be 40 now and still not have any experience working for a company? And that's not even as bad as how ashamed you should be feeling for stealing $300 out of my purse. I'm not unemployed, and I was not the one that stole your money. But if this is how you want to play this game, then I'll play along with you. I'll be out of this place as soon as possible. Good, good, good. I will praise you on the fact that you came around to accepting your crimes pretty quickly there. I want you out of this penthouse in 1 hour, all right? Once again, I'm going to have to praise you for getting all your things together and moving out of this house in under an hour. Honestly, hearing praise from someone like you gives me the opposite feeling of being happy. I'm sure you're dying on the inside right now, right? That's right. That bet of yours, the $10,000 one. I'll be taking it now. So what you mean is you'll be paying me $10,000 to take it, right? What are you going on about? It wasn't even you that paid for the bet in the first place. It was Dad that got this thing for you. Excuse me? Really? Knowing about how you forced Dad to buy you this kind of an expensive bed, even though he was already paying for you to eat and sleep in this house, is really sly of you. And that pisses me off a little. I cannot believe that for the past 2 years, ever since you completely shut yourself into this place, you've done nothing but take advantage of others and make things all about yourself. You've received enough of everyone's money now, right? From now on, it's my turn to lay back and enjoy this fancy penthouse while Mom and Dad pay for my husband and I. Trinity, you really have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. Wait, it's more like you've just forgotten everything about what happened a few years ago. Trying to threaten me by saying some really vague and stupid things like that aren't going to scare me away. Don't you ever come back here, all right? Bye-bye. I'll hold you to that then. Ari! Hey! What is this about this place costing $16,000 a month to live in? This penthouse has already been paid off by Dad now, right? He just came up to me and said that if I want to start living here with my husband forever, then we'll need to start paying the rent. And what's this about you having been the one paying the rent this whole time? What's Dad even going on about right now? How could a jobless parasite like you have had the money to afford a place like this? I told you I'm not unemployed, Trinity. And if you'd like a little more detail into what I'm doing for work, I'm running a decently sized company as the CEO. Stop lying, you idiot! Mom already told me about how you never leave the house except for maybe a couple of times a month. That's because I'm normally working remotely from my bedroom. And the only reason I really have to leave the house at all is to go to the office building and hold meetings or talk with some customers in person. That's what Mom meant by that. Now, listen here. We are not living in the 20th century anymore. This is the 21st century now, where people can be employed yet not ever have to leave their home. And recently, due to a lot of world events, companies have been more open to letting their employees work from home instead of having to make any commute into the office. I don't need to listen to you talking about all that crap. And another thing, Trinity, has your mental health gotten any better? I ask that because it seems that you've only gotten worse when it comes to how you twist situations to your benefit, so that you never have to listen to anything others are saying to you. Did you stop going to see that therapist or something? Come on! I had thought this whole time that Dad bought this amazing penthouse with the money he got from his pension after he left his company and retired. So you forgot what happened with Dad then when he retired? Come back here already, Ari! I can't do that. Remember that I'm holding you to your word now? And that word was you saying for me to never return there again. But there's nobody here that can afford to pay this kind of rent! Well, then you should have actually been listening to me. Shut the hell up! Ari! Both Mom and Dad left the penthouse! They even took all the things that were left over in your room and left! There's not a single person in this house that can help pay for the rent now! My husband's been telling me over and over again that he's not earning enough to pay for this place. $16,000 is way too crazy for him and I to afford. Well, it's not like you'll be paying it anyway, considering that this is the last month you can live in that penthouse. After that, the lease will be finished and you both will have to leave. What? I made sure to end my lease there a while ago, and this was the last month before the landlord said he'd be placing the penthouse back on the market. If you want to continue living there, then you'll have to apply for the place and hope you're accepted. But of course, that'll mean you both have to start paying rent. What the hell are you talking about? It's only been 2 years since you, Mom, and Dad moved into this place, right? I know that. And from the very beginning, we only really were planning to stay there for around 2 years. Why would you only want to stay for that short period of time? Trinity, because of you, Mom and Dad were no longer able to live in the house they had before. You know, the one you and I both grew up in? You seriously forgot literally everything that happened back then? What? You went and forced one of your former classmates to give up their husband and let you take him, right? And, well, that former classmate of yours, Grandpa, just so happened to be the technical owner of the land Mom and Dad's house was on. That man ended up getting very, very upset with you and the family and forced both Mom and Dad out of their house to have it torn down. And then he went and sold the land to someone else. But before he could do that, Dad was forced by him to pay for the house's demolition and for the land to be cleaned up, which cost Dad most of his retirement and all. What the hell? How? So that's what happened with you. You didn't forget about what happened, rather you just never cared about how it would later affect your parents. But Ari... I told Mom and Dad that I could step in and pay off the settlement that was being asked from them by your former classmate and her parents. But they told me it wasn't any of my responsibility. So I thought, at the very least, I would take Mom and Dad, who had lost their house at the fault of you, and I would put them in a penthouse with me, since the both of them had always wanted to live in one of the skyscrapers downtown. So after they had paid all their dues that you caused, they came to me and we moved into the penthouse together. Mom and Dad were in tears about what I was giving them, and I asked them how long they wanted to live there, and they both agreed on 2 years. So that's why your lease is over with now? Although I'm kind of surprised that Mom and Dad even allowed you to come over to my penthouse after all your cheating husband and thieving self had done to them. Huh? Are you aware why Mom and Dad were both living with me in that penthouse now? Because of all that you'd done. And if you'd like to know, the only reason you and your husband were actually allowed past security is because I allowed it. What the? I had always thought that Mom and Dad were so happy to pay off that settlement for me, and then chose to buy that penthouse with Dad's retirement after I left. And that you forced your way into there after leaving the part-time job you had and making them pay for all your needs. I thought that if Mom and Dad could afford a penthouse like that and pay for a full-grown woman like you, then they really were rich, and that got me all excited. Well, in reality, all of this was forced to happen because of what you'd done, and it was rough for all of us since. I really thought you already knew about everything that happened, since you were the cause of all of it. I would really like to know what's inside that massive head of yours. It can't be considered a true brain or anything by any form of scientific method, can it? And this is why Mom and Dad were asking you to please go and see a therapist. I never thought my own sister would say that about me. Hey, can you tell me where Mom and Dad moved to? Not happening. Why not? Because they've both demanded that I never tell you. Then where have you moved to, Ari? I'm sure that things are so lonely for a single 40-year-old woman, right? My husband and I will come live with you to help make you feel better. What a freaking joke. I'm not even single anymore. What? You got married without telling me? That's right. Then how about you let my husband and I live there and we can all be a happy double couple family? I don't want you causing any trouble for my husband, so I'm not telling you where I live. No way. How about you stop acting like everything's about you and get real, Trinity? You have now not only been disowned by both Mom and Dad, but you've also lost the privilege of calling me your older sister. What? Honestly, something like this should have happened a lot sooner. I think right after you stole that man away from someone else and married him, while also causing both Mom and Dad to lose their home and money, we all should have cut ties to you. Maybe Mom and Dad both thought that after a few years you'd change. But considering the kind of freak you are mentally, there is no way you'd get any better. You didn't even bother going through more therapy, instead just making up a plan to have me kicked out of the house by saying I stole your money. Ugh. There's no hope for you anymore. You're not going to be living in that penthouse for much longer, and you won't be finding any of us. Wait! The apartment my husband and I had been living in before, we ended the lease on it, so... Well, that penthouse's lease is also ending, so find somewhere new to live from now on. But there's nowhere left we can go! Make sure you're out of there before the end of this month. Goodbye forever. Wait a second, Ari! We can figure something out for me. Trinity and I are 10 years apart in age, which means she's 30 years old now, yet you probably would never be able to guess that by the way she acts so much like a selfish and spoiled brat. Ever since I can remember, she's always been wanting the things I had. But who could have seen her behavior getting any worse to the point she'd go after other people's things, like their husband? And it's a bit more than 2 years since that happened. These last 2 years, my parents and I have done our best to move past the horrible memories she implanted in us. But after thinking she'd be back a better person, she only proved to us that her mental health was not fixable. And because of that, she's no longer a part of this family. On the day her and her husband had to leave that penthouse, they got into this huge fight that led to their divorce. But the issue there was that my sister had no money at all, so she couldn't afford to even rent the most basic of places. Therefore, she had to contact my rather hard ass of an aunt, who came and picked her up to move out with them and work on their farm. Our aunt went ahead and made a deal with Trinity, which was that by working on her farm and paying my parents back every cent they lost because of her 2 years ago, she would not have to be abandoned by the rest of the larger family as well. Seems that her life of having no money at all is going to continue on for a couple more years now.